Hey students, here's my bullet journal notebook. It's got watercolor and I did a brain dump. And so as you can see, my first main point was the agendas. And I added this idea when I talked to somebody today. Then I had my second idea about the city manager. And then my third idea about the city secretary, like my little stamp for my bullet journal notebook. And then I had my shout outs. This all ended up being in my introduction. And I actually created the speech in real time. I typed up some of the notes and then I started making changes in real time while the meeting was going on. But I didn't think you wanted to sit and listen for 15 minutes of a meeting, watch me edit a speech. So anyway, this is my brain dump, and now you can go ahead and watch the speech proper with my notes, how I had them set up on Zoom. And you will notice you want to have your notes ready to rock and roll and your windows ready, because when they move you from panelist to speaker, your windows do get all cattywampus, and you want to be ready for that. And I even make a comment about that for people who may be less skilled at Zoom than us teachers. Isn't this funny? I did watercolor, and I'll just write over that. So I love journals. I've got pages and pages of notes in here from my different classes I take online. And then one day, years ago, I done all this painting, and now I'm starting to actually write over. These are like allegedly bluebonnets or flowers, but anyway, it's abstract. It's a bullet journal. It's my brain dump. So I
can right citizen comment period. So I'm gonna 1 second here. I gotta make that a little smaller so I can see it. 30-minute citizen comment period. Persons wishing to participate or speak during the citizen comment portion of the meeting must email Ms. Tina Moreno no later than noon on the day of the meeting. A call-in number to join by phone or link will be provided for participation or on a mobile device, laptop, or computer. Comments shall have a time limit of 3 minutes each. Any threatening, defamatory, or other similar comments are prohibited by Chapter 2 of the San Marcos City Code. So do we have anyone signed up?
I do. I have Lisa Marie Capoletta, and I'm getting ready to move her over to be a panelist to speak. I do have a timer, so I will get that started once I get her moved over.
Okay. Will we see her?
We'll see. Ms. Capoletta, I'm setting the timer. You're ready to go?
Please don't start it yet, because you guys just literally moved me over and I can't see where I'm at.
Take your time, Lisa.
Thank you. Take your time. Thank you, Mayor. I appreciate it.
Good to see you again.
You look great. Don't start the timer, please. I've got a timer too, Tina. It's really good to see you, Mayor. You look awesome. This is an all-star cast. Can I set up my view real quick, please? Tina, give me just 1 second here.
Go ahead.
Okay, thank you. All right, there we go. When you guys, just for off the record, before I start, my allergies. When you guys send us over, it jars everything over, so you may want to consider having the panelists just sitting there so it doesn't do that. I'm on Zoom all day, so this is very easy for me. But to someone who's less experienced and seasoned, they would be freaked out right now. Now I'm getting ready to start my timer, Tina.
Okay.
Ready? I feel like I'm about to do a relay the way Tina's running this meeting. Good evening. My name is Lisa Marie Capoletta. I live at 1322 Belvin. I want to thank all of you for your service on this commission. It looks like we have an all-star cast. I've been attending these meetings for over 3 decades, the Charter Review Commission, and this is a very important commission that you have been entrusted to. It is important that we have people who are serving on this commission who have an understanding from the citizen's perspective. So if you have never spoken out at a public hearing or never been involved from the citizen end, I would implore you to reach out to members of the public who've endured some of the instances of public speaking in terms of engagement with our elected officials as well as our city staff. It's imperative that you understand the LDC as well as the comprehensive master plan. And tonight I'm going to talk about agendas, the city manager, and the city secretary for my suggestions. The first suggestion I have is regarding the agendas. The agendas should be recorded and uploaded. Before they used to tell me, oh, it's too expensive. We don't have enough city staff to come and record all of the meetings that we have at City Hall, the various boards and commissions. Well, now literally the kid from Home Alone could handle this project. They're Zooming these meetings. Any teacher knows you can record these meetings and they should be uploaded immediately to the city server, and you should put that in the charter. The second item I want to discuss is that all agendas, including work sessions, should have questions from press and public. Your agenda is an aberration from all the other board agendas that we have right now in the community. I read every board agenda that is uploaded to the city server. This is the first one that I have seen during the pandemic that has an aspect of the questions from the press and public. Thirdly, under agendas, is that special meetings such as the Ethics Review Commission should have questions from the press and public and citizen comments. That is not occurring with the ethics agenda item that's coming up this week. Fourthly, under agendas, is all agendas should have a corresponding packet. This specific, all of them right now do not. Our city secretary is working very hard to make that happen, which leads me to my second suggestion. The city secretary should not have to reside within the city of San Marcos. Ms. Cook is doing a wonderful job, and I hope that you make that amendment. My final suggestion is regarding the city manager. First of all, you can see behind me what happened to my block. That is a result of a private meeting that Bert Lumbreras had with my neighbors who said, and I have access to these open records, we want that sidewalk in her yard. Okay, so there should not be private meetings. Also, secondly, we should not have special favors. The speed bump on my block that everybody's driving in the middle of the street and it's damaging cars was a special favor to this family. Finally, our city manager should not be able to put on the agenda item things like the kissing tree because he lives there and he has special financial interest. Thank you for your time, and God bless San Marcos.
Thank you, Ms. Capoletta, and thank you for that suggestion on the questions from press and public. And we will review that for the next meeting. Thank you.
Thank you, Mayor. It didn't stop until after you left, and I really miss you a lot. And I'm sorry I was so hard on you over the years, but Mayor, I really miss you, and I apologize.
Well, it's lovely to see you, and thank you for saying that. Have a good evening, and I guess, Ms. Moreno, I guess we will head to item number 4.
There's a couple of things I want to say about this speech. Number one is always maintain control over yourself and the speech. So one way I can maintain control over myself was by having my window set up properly, because I knew, as I've explained previously in other commentaries as well as this one, that once they moved me over from panelist to public speaker, the windows would get all cattywampus and I would lose my notes. In most instances in most instances, whenever I give a speech in a public situation, I've got written notes that are either handwritten or they're typed up. A couple of times I've used my iPad and my cell phone. I've tried it just to have the experience as a public speaker, so when I coach my students, I know how they feel, but I like handwritten notes. But it's much easier on Zoom to actually type them up. So if you give a speech and you don't use your outline that's printed out from a printer, make sure that you know how to set up your windows so you could see your audience's reaction. To me, it's very important to be able to look into the eyes of your audience and make any sort of adjustments of your tone. Now, my public speaking style tends to be very aggressive, so oftentimes I don't really care what people think. But in this instance, I really wanted to pay homage to our former mayor, and I always call, you call the president Mr. President when he was the president. I had the same ideology and philosophy regarding local municipal politics. So Mr. Tomates used to be our mayor, and so I called him mayor. Mr. Mayhew also was chair of this commission many years ago. I have a lot of respect for him. 2 of the commissioners, not so much. First, one of them, who was not showing her video, she has sent out some very vitriolic texts on election day, targeting my friends as well as me. And I found it very problematic she wasn't showing herself on camera. Another individual, he has run for political office. He's never stepped foot at a public hearing and given a speech, and I bet he knows the charter review, the charter itself proper, which is like the Constitution to San Marcos. I bet he knows the comprehensive plan and the land development code about as much as you do. And that's scary. And I think one of his comments was, I'm here to learn. Hello. I don't think, Thomas Jefferson was there to learn when he wrote the Constitution. I think he was there to do business. So some of those comments in my introduction were targeted specifically to him. I guess the last thing I want to say is the time. Now, I've already told you that your time is your currency. And in this instance, I have this really super keyboard that I use, and I'll show you that in a minute. And you could prop your phone up on it. And that's what I was doing for my timer. And I was watching her timer. And you notice I ended right on the dot. I always end my speeches right on the dot or a little bit early. Every once in a while I'll go over. But I have found during the pandemic, the city staff are, quite frankly, they should be happy that someone shows up, because I'm always the only one that does. And they should be happy that someone's involved and give a speech. It's not like there's 20 people at a public hearing. I've been at public hearing, students, where there's like 100 people, like 50 people will speak. And Mayor Guerrero let every person speak. Some of them will cap it at 20 for a citizen comment situation, but at public hearings, they can't cap it. And so you can have 50 people give a speech in a night. It will last 2 hours. They should be happy in that scenario, but they should also be happy when there's a lone wolf. And I'm not understanding why during the pandemic, the city staff are literally holding up timers. And I've been barked at one commission, the neighborhood commission, stop! And I'm thinking, I don't even do that to my students. Now, I'll warn you if you're going over time. And the only time I do that is if someone has not timed their speech. And it's very clear it's the first time they've ever read the speech, because that's what they're doing. They're not delivering the speech, they're reading it. In that instance, I'll warn you, I'm like, I could tell when you're at your first main point and you've got 3 more to go and there's 2 minutes left. That's the only time I'll do it, but I'll never bark it at you. And quite frankly, you shouldn't do that. It's very rude, because basically you've never rehearsed a speech and it's story time. You're reading your speech to us. There's a difference between a public speaker who shows up every week and always meets time, and she's getting barked at. And, I respect her. At least she showed me her timer. The reason why she didn't have it on the screen is because she hasn't learned how to do that. And so that's my other commentary, is that city staff should know how to run Zoom. In some of these instances, they're showing their email. As a professor, I could never just start flipping through my different windows and you could see my email, because I would be violating your privacy. I would be violating FERPA. And so I'm not understanding why city staff haven't jumped on YouTube and learned how to run Zoom, just like every teacher across this nation. So anyway, thanks for watching my commentary about my speech. I'm going to keep doing that, but remember, I have this game I like to play. You give me street terms, and I will say them in the speech. So things like off the chain, off the hook, that's, I don't know, whatever. People have given me all kinds of funny ones, and I just give me a list. I'll have it in front of me, and improv, I'll throw out your words. So think of your cool street terms, and then I'll send you the video, and you'll go, oh, I gave her that term. Okay. And by the way, thank you for your time, and God bless San Marcos. That's an old phrase that one of our former presidents, Reagan, used to say, and I say it in every speech, to the point where when I'm rolling around town, sometimes people go, hey, thank you, God bless San Marcos. They'll literally call me that, and I always find that as a compliment. Ronald Reagan was an actor, and then he became president, and he had Peggy Noonan. Noonan is a rhetorician, and she wrote most of his speeches. So his Challenger speech is one of my favorite all-time speeches. And so I'm never understand the bright line between plagiarism and having a ghostwriter or a speechwriter. But Peggy Noonan was Ronald Reagan's speechwriter, ghostwriter, whatever. And she wrote some brilliant speeches. But you're going to write your own. And I appreciate you watching my commentary. Thank you. Okay, do you have one of these? This is great. So basically my phone is sitting here, and I can, I've got it all propped up, and I can take my time. And then there's my computer. So if you don't have one of these keyboards, they're like chiclet keys, they call them. I love it. It's saving my arms and fingers during the pandemic. I do so much typing. So this may be something that you may want to invest in. And then you can also control 3 different devices. So I can control my iPad, I can text on my phone from my keyboard, as well as my computer. So key 1 is my computer, key 2 is my iPad, key 3 is my phone. I'm the world's worst texter, and I just love this keyboard. So anyway, there's just another idea to help you giving speeches on Zoom. Thanks for watching. And in case you're wondering, no, I don't live in a crack house. This is an old historic house, and I just love it. There's a transom that we need to finish, but I love this door. I think we're going to sand it down and keep it either rough like this or sand it all the way down to the longleaf pine. And so you can give me your opinion. Should we take it all the way down to the wood, or should we use the rustic look? I particularly like the rustic look. I'm going to show you one other little thing about my house, just so you know I don't live in a crack house, because it looked like that in the last shot. I'm organizing clothes, y'all. Isn't that funny? So anyway, yeah, I've got these bags. They're so cool. They've got these little things where you can take the air out. But anyway, this is my pantry. Isn't that neat? You want to see how organized I am? Look, watch this. But anyway, that is from the bathroom. Okay, that's the wood from the bathroom. If you're ever hungry, come over to my house and I'll cook you a dinner when you're not my student. Isn't that great how organized I am? And that's one thing during this I got for free from the health food store. I remember in North Carolina they used to eat chow chow all the time, but it's got artificial colors, and I don't do that. But I love the organizational structure of my particular pantry. And I'm just like pumped. But anyway, look, this is like an old house. So anyway, but yeah, these things are the bomb diggity do. I'm going through all my closets and getting rid of everything, and these things have got little, you can get the air out, and I've already gotten rid of like 2 garbage bags of clothes to give a friend of mine. So, got my olive oil and more beans, and so if anyway, when you're not my student and you're hungry, well maybe even while you're my student, just let me know, and I got the hookup, especially on the beach.